I'm Jon Altschuler.
I'm Scott Bennett. We've known each other for almost 50 years.
We grew up together on the playground.
And now we're in the foreground and still growing up.
From the playground to the foreground.
Join the conversation. Welcome back. Hey, Jon, how are you?
I'm fantastic.
Okay, so we're deep into summer now, and I think in our previous episodes, we've talked about things we're going to do together. So I'm excited to share one of our outings that we finally made it happen.
It was great.
But I know we've talked a lot about travel. You've done a lot of travel this summer. I'm getting ready to go on a vacation. So it made me think, like, kind of what's your regimen? More specifically, what's your luggage like?
So my regimen, well, first of all, that whole scene from going to bed to waking up to making sure I'm in my seat on time on a plane takes away so much energy from me. And I don't like doing things that take energy.
Yeah.
So it's stressful.
I
if you're around me, it is not pleasant.
So is it a lot of chaos? Like because I don't like it either, actually.
I wouldn't say it's chaos. It's just like stress, precision. You're taking too long. You're messing up my timing, that kind of thing.
We're going to come to the suitcase, but I have a question about that because when we were together at our outing, we're going to talk about, you mentioned that you forgot your golf shoes.
Yeah.
And I think a previous trip, you were like, didn't even pack the right stuff to go hunting.
I know. I just
So
forget
you're
everything.
so it got me thinking, like, maybe there's a job for me there. Like, I could be your guy, or we could get you somebody.
I need somebody.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I just have been thinking, it's come up a few episodes. We've talked about travel, and then so that whole chaos. But I relate to that. So not your favorite thing, and
It's a part of my life where I fall apart.
And then what about the suitcase? Like, are you big on your specific, knowing how you are about other things? What about your luggage? Like, do you have a specific brand?
I do. I have a specific backpack I like that I bring. And then I have some suitcase Lori gave me. It's a suitcase size that you can carry on if you want, but I tend to try to check it.
Yeah. So hard shell, no soft luggage anymore, right?
No, it's soft.
Soft luggage is like a soft player. I think we're all hard shell now. So I'm sort of surprised.
Well, soft allows you to expand it too.
True.
Yeah.
But it also gets beat up by the airline if you're checking it, right?
True.
It takes a beating. I just have to ask, how do you not have a checklist? I mean, you got, like, you sent me before we were together.
Do you have a checklist?
I have a mental checklist.
Yeah, you don't have a checklist either.
Well, I have a routine and a rhythm. So
I
know.
I do too. It just doesn't work.
I have lately I've made a game out of it because my wife is so type A. Like, when we travel, like, she's 3 days before, she's got like a rolling rack with, if we're going,
I don't have that.
Yeah, neither do I. But when she's like, to be defiant, I'll like press the timing. Like, the last trip I went on, or 2 trips ago, I packed like 10 minutes before I had to go to the airport, like, to see if I could and I nailed it. So that's what I'm telling you. Like, in my mind, I have like a whole rhythm. So I think I like the pressure of that moment.
Well, it's certainly one of the more pressure-packed times you have in lives like ours.
Yeah, it's funny. But when we were together, you mentioned that you forgot your golf shoes. I'm thinking that you were always forgetting. So from now on, when I know you're going on a trip, I think I'm going to just start off by calling you and saying, like, do you have everything? Like, I'm going to know where you're going.
My last trip to DC, I forgot my toiletries.
Yeah. So what did you do? You had to buy all that.
Yeah.
People love that. That's why they make those sizes, or CVS loves
So I
you.
was like 11:30 at night at CVS trying to get them to unlock the doors.
So you could get some toothpaste. Yeah. So you didn't want to smell bad. Well, this morning, I had a privilege at Marsh McLennan to speak to our interns. And I know it's been a theme that we talk about in our lives, and certainly on the podcast, about mentorship and internships. And summer is a time of internships. Both of my younger daughter's doing one. Just want to get your thoughts on, like, I know you have an intern always. There's an intern here this summer, maybe more than one, but just thoughts about it.
First thought is, if you're an intern, if you think you have a question, give yourself 5 more minutes to think about it before you ask the question. Because a lot of times you can figure it out yourself. That's my first thought about interns.
Do you tell every kind of, like, that's a rule of the house?
I had a kid come work for me when I was at Stream in probably 2008 from W&L, Kyle Luby, and he said that's what his mom told him.
And you take pride, right, in the wisdom that you teach them, right? I think you enjoy it, don't you?
I mean, I'm not certain I'm giving much wisdom, but I think that we're pretty good at training people on, hey, here's how the top firms operate, and here's if you're going to go work for a JP Morgan or Goldman Sachs, we can help you prepare for what that's like. So,
and I this morning was able to share, we have a pretty set program. I think nationally it's a good internship, and the kids are impressive, and I've had a chance to interact with some of them, but there was a few I hadn't met. So I spoke to them a little about my transplant story. I shared sort of because I do some speaking, but then we went around the room and I asked them what they most have gotten so far. They're about halfway through their internship, and it was funny. I think maybe there was 11 people in that room, 10, and 10 of the 11 said it was the people that they met, like the stories of the people that they met and the takeaways. And there was one that said something completely different, which is how much he thought that people's previous experience led them to this career and how much he noted that. So like what had happened in their life led them to be in insurance. So really interesting that 10 kids in this group all had the same. I don't know if they were just tired. Maybe I was boring, but it occurred to me that we both think that's a priority. And I just know that you have a lot of strong feelings about that. What about your kids and internships? Your own children?
I'm not certain anybody's really had an internship, like a corporate internship. Yeah. They've been more just doing lifeguards and hustling.
Well, my daughter is in the midst of her internship. She's going to be a senior, and she's working for a neuropsychologist here in town, and wants to go to grad school for psychology. And it's been more interesting, not so much like the tangible, hardcore, things that I think I would have expected her. She definitely is doing some self-diagnosis or diagnosis using her skills on her dad, which is great. She's analyzing me a lot, but we had a conversation the other day about she takes Phil's phone calls of people who want the services of the professional. And she had a few people over the course of this internship call about using Medicaid. And I think that was like a big eye-opener. We've talked a lot about Medicaid.
And they can't use Medicaid there?
No, it's too expensive. The services and, he's a private pay. But just the fact that her mind opened to that is like, that's a nugget in an internship that is like sent her down this thinking of the bigger world and kind of maybe how she wants to practice. So I just thought all of that was a really good thing. And I thought,
but what does she learn from that? Does she learn that, hey, that is available only to people with resources and means?
Well, this particular child just really cares about the world. She cares about others. And I think I could see it like upset her that other people don't have access. Right. So I think that more like her emotional relationship to it. And then I think just how the world works. Right. Like, I think that's just something that, to your point, wait 5 minutes is how the world works before you just react. There's a lot of how your world works lessons for interns. Mm-hmm. So anyway, well, I'm sure you've been looking forward to this. I mentioned that we had our outing, which was a round of golf that you so graciously hosted. It was
great.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
We've played golf before, but just a few takeaways, Jon. Your game, if you want to win something, you're going to figure out how to do it. And I watch how hard you work at it. And I've seen your improvement from the last time we played till now.
Thanks.
I see a lot on like social media of your swing and I analyze, but playing with you and just watching you move around the course, how you move, how you approach just your speed and all that, I know, a real delight. And to do it with a friend and see somebody get really good at the game is fun. And I think I held my own. I was battling the heat. You like to walk. I walked. I made it 6 of the 7 miles on the golf course. But on the back 9, I got a wild hair. And I thought I'd add a little. We had somebody playing with us, right, who left. And then it was just you and I and our caddies. And I suggested we should put a wager on it.
Right.
I don't know where I came up with it, but I suggested a wooden nickel.
That's right.
So, Jon, I lost our bet. And I said I would give you 1 wooden nickel, but I gave you a wooden nickel for every shot that I think you beat me by, to which I think you're going to think it was more wooden nickels.
Oh, wow.
But
I like it.
But then I thought we got confused whether it was a wooden nickel or I think I was referring to a buffalo nickel in my mind. So do you know the significance of a wooden nickel?
I really don't.
So I'm going to tell you. I went down and did some crack research. The wooden nickel came about in the Great Depression. It was a symbol of something that had no value. So like they were given as like propaganda as a discount to say, hey, and it later took on this saying of don't accept it if it's like a wooden nickel, meaning like it's worthless, right? Like, so don't take it. So here I've given you 8 worthless wooden nickels.
Thank you.
To
Accepted.
Yeah, I was going to decorate them, but I thought I'll leave that to you or your family.
We'll wager them again.
Yeah, we can put them back up. We'll bet that these wooden nickels will pass for the remainder of our life. Maybe we'll just do some portion of the wooden nickels. It won't be all 8.
So there's 8 wooden nickels.
I want you to know I have 14 more because they come in a set of 22.
Then how do we know what the real currency is? Now
right, I know. We'll set our own. I mean,
it's
really
8 that exist.
Right. To us, they're going to be really valuable. I don't know in the rest of the world, but I want you to know that Amazon sells wooden nickels. I went to Michael's to get these wooden nickels, and I was able to save 40%. So I felt good about
Off
not
of
paying the
Amazon?
shipping. No, off of Michael's, because I didn't pay the shipping, because the shipping was going to be worth
Okay, so
more
it's the same price at both places.
Same price, but then you pay shipping,
Okay.
or because they weren't Prime, whole thing. It was during Prime Week too. I was like looking around. I could have bought you like a special, like a $30 wooden nickel, but I wasn't doing that either because I thought they had no value. I wanted to pay the least amount, so I went to real extent to get these wooden nickels. But really fun time playing golf with you.
Great time.
You're a gracious host. Can't wait to do it again. You played so good on the back. I was so dialed into your round. I didn't want to slow you down. I felt like I was leaking oil.
You played great too.
Yeah,
big putt on two.
Yeah, big putt, 50-footer, I think.
I know.
Yeah, drained a 50-footer. Everybody thought I was like a magician. That was about the extent of the good things that happened in the round. But no, it was a lot of fun, and we'll do it again. And I'm really excited about being here with a guest today. So
I am too. I look forward to letting you know who it is here shortly.
You don't even know who our guest is today.
I've known him for a week.
Which is the least amount we've known any guest that we've had, right?
That's totally the case.
I know. It's going to be fun to get to know somebody both at the same time.
Right. I've known him for 45 minutes.
Yeah, but you had enough inclination in that 45 minutes of your conversation.
I like this guy.
Yeah, you suggested that. And if I'm going to follow you down the path, I'm excited. I've done my research on him, so looking forward to the visit after the break.
Fantastic.
Would you like to be our guest?
Or is there someone you would like to see on the show?
DM us through social at Playground Foreground.
We look forward to hearing from you. Drew Ricciardone, welcome to the playground.
Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. Drew, Scott, Drew.
Drew, it's good to meet you. I know that John's only known you like 6 days longer than I now. So I mean,
it's true. And in that 6 days, we've really gotten a chance to talk a decent amount. So it's really exciting to be here. And I've heard a lot about you. So I'm excited to meet you in person.
Well, glad to have you on the playground. I think I've done a little bit of research, but I'm excited to hear this because I've looked you up in the kind of most obvious ways, but kind of 90, 120 seconds on who you are, how you made it to Dallas, what you're doing in the world.
Sure. So born and raised Little Rock, Arkansas. Went to the University of Virginia for undergraduate. Did some political stuff right during college and then immediately after. And then actually joined UPS, Big Brown, for 6 years. Did a bunch of things for them that we can either get into or not. Eventually decided I have a philosophy undergrad degree and I needed to go back to school and get some more schooling. And I just recently graduated from Harvard Business School and I raised a search fund, which we can also go into that. And I moved with my wife to Dallas about a month ago and really excited to be here.
Are you living on John's couch? as of after the show?
If I had met him a little earlier, maybe that could have been in the cards, but we got a house.
I think the first thing I queried Drew on is where he went to high school.
That's right. Yeah. So I went to Little Rock Central High School in Little Rock, which is the site of the Little Rock 9 desegregation. So it was cool. It's I think the only national historic park that is also a high school that's still functioning in the country.
So it's a historical marker as a school?
Yeah, and there are park rangers. It's actually a park for some reason, and there are park rangers with their hats who are leading tours. Just like during the school day.
Because it is right. Obviously, it's a important site.
Yeah.
In the history. And I think I read your mom and your grandmother worked in retail, right? There was some title. You grew up in a small business.
So my family came to Arkansas in the early 1800s and had a small general store on Main Street. It was like a log cabin. We have some old drawings of it that are some of my favorite possessions. And over the years, that developed eventually into a department store and then into a women's clothing store, which has been our family business for, I think, 6 generations.
Wow.
But recently, actually during COVID, we closed the last brick and mortar iteration of that. And so my mom has a small business still in the retail space, but it's not that exact business. But yeah, I grew up, watching my grandmother and my mother operate a small business, which was really cool.
And I'm just curious, like your search fund, and I do want you to talk about that because when John mentioned the search fund, and then I love how on your website you really speak to me because I had a business and raised money, and you think of private equity, venture capital. What is it all? It's all really. sources of money, right?
Right.
But with a thesis-based investment.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. We hear all the time that small business is the fabric of America, right? Would you call your business a small business?
I would.
Yeah.
So the government.
Yeah, and so your desire to support small business, like, is that just because of what you saw? I mean, after all you've been out to see at Harvard, Virginia, you could do a lot of things, but you're back focused on small business. Why?
I think for a couple of reasons. The first reason is that I think when you think about the people who are in your community and you see their names on the back of soccer jerseys because they're the local orthodontist sponsored them, I think there's a good opportunity to be involved at the local level with small businesses. They tend to be more regional. The other reason that I really think about is I think separate from going to work for a really large firm, there's some continuation risk for small businesses in the United States. They're not all of them, but some of them don't have succession plans or will end up, if nothing else happened, they might be consolidated or merged into a larger entity, and you would get more larger national players. And so if there aren't people going into small business entrepreneurship or ownership in America, some of those businesses will go away. And so I think there's a little bit of a platform right now to go into it and try to preserve and continue some of these really incredible, businesses and institutions that people have built in local communities.
I think you make a good point about local participation and involvement, because I feel like when you think about the Greater Dallas Chamber, for instance, that's where your firm needs to play. And my firm needs to play at the high school level, like supporting the high schools and the junior highs. And because at your firm, there's 950 different high schools that firm could support in Texas. My firm has like 5 or 6. So I think that that's an interesting point, that the local business is really the one that can drive local involvement.
Well, it's interesting. You mentioned I work for Marsh McLennan, and the business that Marsh McLennan Agencies was really founded, I would say, using the sort of private equity mentality to go acquire the best of breed local brokers, because for that reason, they were tied to their community. And they really haven't messed with sort of they pay a multiple to these owners, but they know their geography. So if I'm a broker in Little Rock, we have presence in Little Rock, I'm going to know my community. I'm going to know all the other business owners, the leaders of business in my community. And therefore, there's still a tie to that. But yet I love that we do that. But on the other side, we're sort of losing a lot of those. So the vision to think about reinvesting in that, I'm always driven by others that do this, that care about small businesses, about the importance that they are to the fabric of America, like Small Business Saturday that usually comes around the holiday, like that. I love that movement. And I think we need to preserve small businesses because, to your point, back in 1800, I mean, that is a long history and there's a lot that can be passed down. So why Dallas?
So a couple of reasons. First, my wife is from Fort Worth. And I'm from Little Rock. And so between the two of us, Dallas is a great city for us to be in that has so much economic opportunity. I think I was reading last week that the GDP of Texas has doubled over the last 20 years, more than doubled. And that the most net inflow of corporate headquarter relocations, both Fortune 500, I think more broadly in the entire country, is in Dallas right now.
For sure.
So there's a lot of opportunity here. It's great. It's close to our families. I actually have, as a kid, when the small business, my mom and grandmother would come to Trade Mart in Dallas, and I would stay at the Hilton Anatole and like run around the garden back there. So I have like some childhood memories here as well. That's really nice. And then, you spend 10 years living in shoebox apartments on the East Coast. And I'm growing some tomatoes in my backyard right now. And I know that's such a small thing, but like it's actually pretty meaningful for me. And having the ability to do all of that in one city is pretty amazing.
So you mentioned your experience at the Apparel Mart. And I, like you, also spent a lot of time at the Apparel Mart. My family had a manufacturing business in Ferris, Texas. We made purses for women. So my grandfather started that business. It was called Maryland Belts and Bags. And as a boy, my dad, it was his father-in-law ran that business, and all of the retailer, that's where they went. They went to market a couple times a year. So Sears and Walmart and these big retailers would come there to find their goods, right? And the obviously providers would be there. So it's interesting. It still remains a really important place in Dallas. And my daughter was asking me the building next door, the Infomart. You spend any time at the Infomart?
I mean, when I was a kid and like a young professional, but now it's a technical building.
Yeah, and Lindsay asked me, "Is there anything going on in there?" And I'm like, "Yeah, there's a lot of,
computing.
Yeah, a lot of stuff. I mean, there was a big data center there originally, and I think it's spawned into. So that part of Dallas, just in that little area, as I think you'll find out spending more time, is still a very vibrant and important part of our city.
Old Trammell Crow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some of the buildings on that corridor, you could speak to this from your, from a real estate perspective, aren't doing as well. I think we were in one for a while doing this podcast.
Boy, that's when the podcast almost died.
Yeah, we
early.
Right, we were early on, and I think I said to you, I remember one day leaving the building saying, "John, what's going to happen?" I knew that there weren't very many tenants, and I think our producer suggests it's filed for bankruptcy. That building.
There's no tenancy.
No tenants. They miss us. But that part of Dallas there's lots of hotels, right? You can see that there's a lot going on there. It's still very important. I'm curious, how did you meet Jon? Like, what drove you to reach out as a young person in Dallas? I mean, you can call anybody. Why Jon?
I was raising money for my search fund and looking around on the internet, and I really wanted some local investors. I was moving to Texas. I thought it would be nice to have people I could meet with and speak to in person, and connect with. And Jon, on an archived webpage, was listed as an investor on a search fund. And so I sent him an email out and I said, "Hey, I don't know if you still do this or not, but I'm raising a search fund, and would you be interested in being an investor?" And by the time we spoke, it wasn't, we kind of missed that small window of opportunity, but we got to make this really incredible connection. And so that is the initial reason I reached out and how we met.
Why don't you explain what a search fund is for people who might not know?
A search fund is, I mean, really it's just raising money from investors. You raise money from investors to search for a business. That's why it's called a search fund. And you are generally in the funded model, which is what I'm doing. You raise money from investors. You try to find a business to acquire. They provide the equity capital financing for it and help you raise debt in the event that that's necessary as well to make the acquisition. And so it's just, one variant of an investing model. But the difference is that you both find the business to acquire, and then you also are the operator after the acquisition.
How many of your classmates are doing this?
I'd say 30 or 40.
Out of 900?
Yeah.
Wow. What specific, I read on your website, but I want to hear from you. Is there a specific type of business, vertical or anything like that, or just a good mom and pop?
So what I did for UPS specifically, I worked for UPS Healthcare. I did healthcare logistics and distribution and clinical trial services. So my background and expertise is in what I would sort of define as broadly healthcare services. That's what I know. And I want to make sure that I'm successful at the acquisition that I make. And so I'm searching in that area for things that I know how to do, or at least have some experience with the procurement and the IT systems that make up some of these businesses. And so an example industry would be medical waste disposal or bio or hazmat disposal, I think is really interesting. It's something I'm looking at now. Spent a decent amount of time looking at healthcare IT services and also into some providers like speech pathology clinics and things like that.
Well, I'd love to talk to you more about that, not on the podcast because I work in medical insurance, right? I do group benefit plans, and it's interesting to see legacy businesses in that space. I wouldn't say we deal like in medical waste, but all of that is big cost drivers. And there's some really good businesses in that space, I think, that haven't really taken steps forward, where I think there's tremendous growth for these subsets. So it's interesting that you're doing that. I'm curious, when I saw that you worked at UPS and you mentioned it a few times, and my brother-in-law spent a stint there, you had to spend a couple weeks driving the truck and being an operator within the business, right? So how much did that impart, like, hey, I want to be an operator too? I'm just curious.
I liked the idea of working at a, number one, like an old blue chip industrial business in the United States. And number two, I liked that it was a little blue collar, that it's, picking up packages and then dropping them off somewhere else at the end of the day. And so many of the, opportunities that I felt like that existed in the world were harder to put your hands on. And I just was attracted to that part of the business. And then I got there, and UPS has this attitude that if you can do accounting at UPS, you can definitely do sales at UPS. You can definitely do operations at UPS. You were a UPSer first and a function leader second. And that really appealed to me. And so I was fortunate to work there for a while, and I got to move around. I saw you, at least Scott, I think you're a baseball guy. My boss referred to me as a utility infielder. My job was to go and do whatever it was that I was told to do that day.
Well, I'm surprised you wouldn't refer to it. I would refer to that as a Swiss Army knife, because we know how much.
Yeah, he loves the Swiss Army knife. I got a delivery today from UPS from Prague, stationary.
Really?
They told me 8 days ago I would have it today from 9:30 until 12:30, and I got it at 12:30.
Yeah, it's
amazing.
It's amazing. Just curious about that. Like, I think the business has changed a lot. Like, you can know exactly when your package is going to be there, like the tracking. But it wasn't always that way. And just to watch that business change, how much did it change in the window that you were there? Like, did you see like wholesale like utilization of AI or anything that you thought was like groundbreaking for your time there in terms of how they've improved the service?
Well, so yeah, I think the modernization of the facilities was something that was happening when I was there. That was pretty remarkable. The reason we're able to know when your package is going to get delivered at a certain time is because they've installed all of these scanners that scan your barcode as it passes through the conveyor belt. And that provides data to the sort of central nervous system of UPS, where we can say, okay, this package was diverted here. This is the last scan point. And so now you could go into the business, for instance. These are small changes, but really meaningful. It's like if I know that the last barcode scan was in the northeast corner of the building and it didn't hit the southeast corner of the building, even though the conveyor belt loops around that way, the odds that it fell off the conveyor belt, which happens, like between this point and this point, it makes it easier to find it. Like those small things that you don't really think about, like that is what is responsible for 99.9% on-time delivery or whatever the metric is that you're searching for.
What's your impression of the U.S. government based on your interactions with senators in that role?
I would say that the political arm, like the legislature, is different from like the U.S. government writ large. The legislature, I think everyone would agree, has some work to do in this country. That's how I would describe
it. 26 years old.
Yeah.
Interacting with senators.
Well, yeah, I think I was a lobbyist for UPS as well. And if I hadn't had UPS saying you need to meet this person, I don't think I could have gotten those meetings. But you go in and at the time it was like taxes and pensions, kind of bread and butter issues. And you talk to people about, what they're drafting and what changes are coming to the tax bill and how that impacts, especially corporate tax.
Is lobby, from your perspective, at this function, this space and time, is it still important? Obviously it was what you did, but is it working?
It is working in that lobbying is an effective way to make connections and get what you need in front of the people who need to see it. I think especially in the last 5 years, there's been almost a resurgence of lobbying where you need trusted intermediaries. People who people have known and can have previously done business with. I think it's a lot like other businesses in that you need to have a bare level of trust there. And that's what lobbying ideally provides in the best case scenario.
I think I saw something.
You'd be a good lobbyist.
Maybe,
no joke.
Yeah, I think I thought about it. I think I saw last night there was a woman economist who's written a book. I got a D in economics, in case you didn't know, but because I didn't understand theory. And this was the most powerful explanation of economics, at least for me, said economics is a function of how people deal with each other. At the core of economics are people. And so there's a lot of humanities, and we don't really talk about that. I think if somebody had said that to me when I was taking economics, I would have leaned in more. But the reason I bring it up is that we do a really horrible job lobbying for the poor. And that's why the poor continue to get things cut. So that's why I asked the question. So just thoughts about that.
It's interesting that there's no one to pay them.
That was exactly what I took away from it. Huh. So I'm glad we get to talk to somebody today that's done that. Just makes me think maybe there's nobody to pay them, and so therefore we're cutting programs that serve the poor. Easy to do because there's nobody to lobby and tell their story, right?
Yeah, I think special interest. It's in the right to the petition the government is in our Constitution. So for better or for worse, people are allowed to do this, and special interest groups whether that's big business or any other sort of lobby trade association, the more organized you are, the better chances there are that you can achieve what you want to do. And typically being organized is a function of resource. And so, or, like social aid organizations or charities are very dependent on outside sources of funding in a way that, obviously big business isn't, and there's more money at stake for them. And so they lobby harder.
You can connect with today's guest, Drew Ricciardone, on LinkedIn and check out his website, lonerockpartners.com.
You mentioned you spent some time in Dallas, but I'm just curious, now that you're sort of planting some roots here, impressions of Dallas as a city in this phase of your life?
I think it's a great city for being, I think, in your early 30s. I have been really struck by, I want to say, the entrepreneurial energy of Dallas. I don't feel like it gets enough due as a city that has a lot of entrepreneurship in it. Everyone I talk to about a search fund or a startup, I was sitting next to a person who was doing an industrial services AI startup at dinner the other night. And there's a lot of people here who are trying to create something of their own or something meaningful in the world. And it's not always a tech company like it is in San Francisco, but it is no less entrepreneurial.
So where does it not get enough due? I think Dallas is totally a business city.
Definitely a business city. I just meant particularly for entrepreneurship. I felt like it's something that maybe I'm just off on that.
I tend to agree. I had a stint as an entrepreneur here back in 2016. I think it's come a long way, John, but with all the wealth that's here, and I think I told you, like real estate, oil, this is the first time where like the people that grew up with an iPhone, third generation wealthy families, their grandchildren are now looking at businesses like the ones that, these types of things we're talking about that wasn't happening 10 years ago. So there is a lot here. It's affordable. It's certainly advantageous for all other types of business, but for entrepreneurs, I think it's coming around. So I'm glad you noticed that.
And the fact, that I'm sitting here right now, John said, come in and have this, I think is indicative of the attitude of the city.
Yeah, Dallas is very open. It's very accessible, and nobody really cares who your dad is.
Right.
It's one of the cool things about the city. But man, I want to push back on the entrepreneurial thing. You got Trammell Crow, you got Mark Cuban, you got H. Ross Perot. Like, you've got business legends, entrepreneurs. Roger Staubach.
I'm thinking about down from that. I'm thinking about the everyday guy that you don't know their name. There are a lot of those guys in the city, and there's not enough infrastructure to support the clamoring desire that Drew mentions.
But what's the infrastructure? All you need is money. And there's tons of money here.
There is tons of money, but I would just say 10 years ago, it wasn't, it's coming around. It wasn't ready to put it outside of sort of what I would call known.
I think there's never a shortage of capital. There's only a shortage of good ideas. And to the extent we struggle raising capital, we need to present our idea more effectively, I would assert.
I think there's maybe that's where we are, is that there are better ideas now. So I think that the floodgates are opening a little more than they were. I think people were really tight with they would look at deals, but there wasn't a lot of money. And I think you're coming here at a really good time. So it'll be fun to watch your experience.
How many investors do you have in your search fund? Like 10? 5?
Okay. 10. I mostly was, in reference to, I feel like, the openness of people here when you're presenting ideas. In the early stages of my being here, people have more been on the yes and track than on the no, that won't work track, which is not always the reaction you get when you're trying to start something new. More so on that than on the access to capital or other fronts.
It's a great observation. Just quick, what advice did you get to set out on this path? Anything that strike you as really important to this point?
Yeah, I was thinking about this when you were speaking about having interns, and a piece of advice that someone gave me, one of my bosses early in my career, that I think was really helpful, especially as an early stage career piece of advice, which is bring the solution. I think that when I first started working, and this was a mistake that I made, I thought that perhaps my job was to be clever and to be like, hey, this thing is a problem and we should really look at it. And your job is not to point out problems, because pointing out problems creates problems. Your job is to, if you find a problem, to think of the mitigant or the solution to that problem. And it's to make your boss's life easier. And as soon as someone told me that, and I realized that my job, especially when you're early in your career, is to support your boss and to make their life better. And then hopefully that's a give-take relationship where they also mentor you. That really helped me in understanding like what an early career success looks like.
It's a good piece of advice. I think I'm glad you pointed it out. I think it's something a lot of people should and will pay attention to as a result of you sharing it. So with that, we're going to go to topics from the hat. Guest always goes first. Drew?
All right. There's just
you pull one.
any of them.
Oh yeah, they're all together. Oh
Yeah.
boy.
Right.
Just pick one and then we can throw them back in.
NFL team. That's the question.
Yeah, what's your NFL team?
The Cowboys.
Wow.
I mean, I grew up, I see Jerry Jones is from Little Rock, the closest team. My grandmother and I, so my grandmother is the one who owned the store, is a big fan of sports gambling. And so to this day, on Sunday mornings, she calls me and we go through the lines together in the Sunday paper and we pick the lines for all the NFL games. And the only appointment television is the Cowboys. We always pick the Cowboys game. We normally pick the Cowboys. We normally don't win, but we have fun.
Well, I'm the same way. Like we get these betting deals, and I always find myself on the Cowboys not being as strategic. It's always just like I'm taking the Cowboys.
Yeah. Which is both of your problems, by the way. But that's fine. We're not gonna get into it. I should probably talk to your grandmother, but nonetheless, we're not gonna hold that against you. You'll learn as you're here longer how disappointing it is. All right, John.
Buy or rent?
I currently rent a home? Yeah, I'm renting currently just because of the nature of a search fund. You don't know exactly what the acquisition is going to be or where it's going to be. And so need to preserve a little bit of flexibility on that.
Is it easy to lease houses here?
So, I mean, in comparison to Boston, incredible. I mean, just the market here. First of all, there's no broker fees. The market isn't a cartel. You can just look up houses on Zillow and they actually are or are not for sale. You should see how broken the real estate market is in other parts of the country. It is crazy how much better it is here.
You have thoughts about it? I mean,
About the cartel?
no, about buy or rent. I mean, you're a big.
Golly, it's tough. I feel like our city's getting so expensive. I think to be a young person moving to Dallas and looking at the prices, man, I'm glad I bought my house when I did.
Yeah.
I mean, we're lucky.
I was a buyer, but now I'm a renter. I owned a home, but I just recently, a year ago, decided to downsize and take back on the renting life. I kind of like it. I like when things break and I just call somebody to fix it.
So you're still really liking it?
I do. I mean, there's things about it that, I think it's not a long-term play for us necessarily, but I do enjoy it right now. It's a lot of flexibility for me, which I appreciate. Okay, I'm going to pick the next one. I can't read this. Oh, you need to work on your handwriting. Favorite Dallas restaurant?
I mean, that's a hard one to answer because, again, so new here. Where
have you been twice?
I've been to Eatsy's twice.
Okay, that's actually.
Where's your Eatsy's?
Oaklawn?
Yeah, that's by me. I live right there.
Yeah.
We should meet at Eatsy's.
I cut you off though. What were you gonna say?
No, I was just gonna say I just have. It's been here a while. That's a good choice. It's like part of my life now. Eatsy's is an awesome concept, don't you think?
I think so too.
I mean, they've managed to make it through, and I just love it. We go on Friday. Fan. They have a great Friday special.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Friday nights, pizza, wine, and a salad for $30. I mean, in this economy.
What about that iced tea though?
Well, their iced tea and lemonade are expensive. Do not buy the drinks there. We should be going to Brahms.
The iced tea though is good.
Yeah, it's expensive.
The ice is good.
Yeah, they've got it. Well, we can help you.
Have you had the peach tea?
I don't like tea. We've discussed this. So Eatsy's.
But is Eatsy's your favorite?
Well, I really like Eatsy's. I like
you can that. You want.
I like that you can. There's 5 different stations. You can go get whatever you want, and every single one I've tried so far has been good. I was like, weirdly thought that the turkey breast was really good the other day. I don't know. Like I thought it was good the other place.
Maybe I'll meet you there because I've noticed they have on their hot grill. I just looked the other day. On Wednesday nights they have a chicken fried prime rib or chicken fried ribeye for like $17.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, no.
We all should do it.
Yeah.
I would
on
love
a Wednesday
to do that.
night. We should meet there.
How many would you get?
I don't even think I'd finish one.
Okay.
But I want to say that I got. I mean, they have that other places, but I noticed they do it. I think that's a pretty good value.
Can you eat whole pizza?
No, I split that pizza. I used to be able to eat a whole and probably extra, but not anymore. Not the new Slender Me. There's one more topic. We'll go to it quickly and decide if we like it. Oh, vehicles.
I'm currently trying to buy a car.
I feel like you have one car is my impression of you.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Well, it's really my wife's car.
Yeah.
And she currently uses it. And so I'm hoping to buy a car literally this weekend.
So did you take a scooter to get here? How'd you get
No,
here?
I have the car right now because I had things I needed to do today.
Okay.
And also our car's in the shop. It's a whole situation.
Yeah.
But I did drive here.
You're realizing that you need 2 cars in the city. That's one of the other
Well,
things.
we
you?
knew.
Well, we actually don't because we moved to a walkable life. We still have to. So if you need one, you can call me. Maybe I can hook you up.
So you don't need to.
Well, we travel far for work and the public transportation for where we're going. And because of our careers, my career, I mean, I'm out with customers, so I need to be mobile.
Yeah.
But I think you can really get by now with like at a lower cost using Uber and public transportation. I mean, you can do it better now than you could 10 years ago. We didn't have Uber because you need Uber to supplement.
I agree.
Sure.
I agree.
Well, I'll have to think about that.
Yeah.
How do you buy a car this weekend? Like, what are you going to do? Just bounce around in different places?
I mean, I went last weekend to car dealerships here, got close to buying a car, couldn't quite come to an agreement.
Walked
and then-
away.
Yeah.
Have they called you back?
Oh, yeah.
Have they really?
Yeah.
Strong negotiator.
Yeah. I'm considering flying to Jackson on Saturday morning and driving a car back from there because it's the car that I want at the price that I want. So we'll see.
Well, we'll be interested to hear how that
Yeah,
plays out.
I'll keep you guys updated.
If it doesn't work out, call me. I got a car. We're going to be out of town, so you can borrow us for like a week.
Thanks.
Oh, yeah. What kind of car are you looking at?
I'm looking at a Volvo.
Practical.
Yeah.
Safe?
Practical and safe. Good gas
I
mileage.
was going to go with Subaru, but I'm glad to hear.
I thought about a Subaru.
See, yeah, you
and
struck me as a Subaru.
I got talked into the upgrade, which is the Volvo.
Is it the
basically.
station wagon?
No, it's like the mid-size SUV thing.
Yeah, they're a good car. Volvos are good cars.
Yeah.
We had good experience with Volvo. Well, Drew, it's been so wonderful to meet you. I know John's known you for a week, and now next week I'll be able to say I've known you for a week, and John will have too. But I'm glad I do know you.
We'll be old friends.
Yeah, for sure. We are old friends. And I just want to thank you. I think in meeting you, the one takeaway, I mean, there are many things you said that I really appreciate, but it's that advice that you talked about, which I think is so important, to come with solutions. While I'm somebody who's been in the workforce, I think it's a good reminder, like, don't unveil problems, try to be a solver of problems. So thank you for that wisdom. And for those that are watching, I think they're going to appreciate that. And just wonderful to meet you and wishing you all good things.
Thank you so much both for having me on. This was a lot of fun.
Thanks, Drew.